Hey, it
Uh,
worked.
Wonderful.
And it worked. Are the Three Stooges, and we're here Saturday morning, a rare Saturday morning boogie with the bull. And as I had said to a person this morning, it's not so rare anymore because we had one last week. And on Saturdays, when my wife Donna is not here, I will I will do more and more information later. The two very fine looking gentlemen on the screen this morning are Philip Marshall, who is now an admin in the Boogie with the Bull group. And hopefully, I will kick him up to admin in the rest of them because he made the mistake of saying to me yesterday, I was an admin in a 160,000 member group. And that means to me, he knows what he's doing because I'm an admin of maybe
Yeah,
3,000, 4,000.
yeah. Back,
If
back,
you
back
add,
in back into 2020.
well, if you, right, but it's still pretty much the same. If you add them all together, I think it's 3,000, 4,000 people. And we seem to have a good time. I overloaded the groups with Charlie Kirk stuff. And I apologize to anybody who didn't want to see that. But that's what I did in the groups. And of course, in the corner is Randy Rhodes, the co host of the broadcast, a very major part of it because Randy brings in all of the overlay videos that we might have in the course of a broadcast, as well as looking at the news, only because I don't have enough power to do it. We're limited to four gigabyte on our end, and Randy has Windows 11 Pro, and that
Well,
does in
it does
fact
help, but
help.
also my tower for my getting out to the world. It's a major component to the power that I needed because my all-in-one computer had Windows 10, and then I think like 2 years
Right.
ago, Facebook made some changes and updates, and it killed my ability to go live and have a stable connection. So it forced me to buy this new computer, which has done phenomenal work.
If 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 Randy and I work something out, there will be a purchase of Randy's Windows 10. I think. I don't know for sure. But anyway, we're here this morning. We are live on my profile on Facebook. We're live on the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel, although you have to go looking for it because they hide it every time unless I know the link. And anyone take part in the conversations this morning. Try not to interrupt anybody else, although I do that more than anybody else. But I'm working on it. So, gentlemen, what's on the agenda to discuss today?
Well, I've been paying a lot of attention to. I guess I use the aftermath. There's been a change from the very first reaction of a lot of people on Facebook was a very bad reaction. They're going to arm up. They're going to be watchful of attacks. And in the last 24 or so hours, I've seen across New Zealand, Australia, Europe, there are visuals taking place. There is, it appears to me to be some very, very large street things, and people are just coming together to pray. So this is
Yep.
something that's a spark uh, for revival that might be part of God's plan with Charlie Kirk.
I think the funeral is going to be, it's just going to bring us together. And I think it's going to bring the part of the left that understands what the hell is going on. I could be wrong, but I think we will have broken bread and we will have gotten past what we agree with and start working on what we don't agree with, and we'll be as one. Randy?
You know, I hate to be the elder here, but you know,
No, that's why you're
but
here.
it seems that every time something major happens, like a death or an attempt to assassinate, or something like that, the violent act, brings together the conservatives, the Republicans, the Christians, those of faith together. They have their vigils across college universities across the country. The vigils over in England and like Phil mentioned the other countries. Um, but you know what's going to happen, and I hate to say it, but I'm going to give it, let's say, 2 weeks, and it's going to go away. The cohesiveness of the people, the love for each other, the vigils. We're going to go back to our normal days, of our lives, except for Charlie Kirk's wife, who's going to go home every day to a home without her husband and her children without their father. That's going to be the only big change that's going to be forever. I'm afraid that we as Americans, I mean, look at that poor lady who was assassinated, and let's say it, assassinated. She was killed on the subway.
Mhm.
No one's talking about her, except for a few conservative outlets. No one's talking about her, and the same is going to be true in about 1 or 2 weeks when we go back to living our lives. Might be an occasional thing or whatever, or some newscaster like on Newsmax. They're already uh, uh, getting together all the videos to give Charlie Kirk a memorial and so forth. But after that, I'm afraid it's just going to go back to business as usual until the next big event takes place. I mean, at the same time that Charlie Kirk was being assassinated, there was a shooter on a school. Charlie Kirk, yeah, he's a big name. He's very popular. Totally overshadowed the fact that this other school was shut up. And we shouldn't have, as like my daughter said, we shouldn't treat one life lesser than the other lives. They're all important. But again, I'm saying in a week or two, if nothing else major happens, we're going to forget about this and move on. Now, I just learned today that this guy's father was a 27-year veteran of the police department. That might be where he got his skills to shoot from. That might be how he got his
Oh,
rifle.
I'm sure it was.
They said he went
It
off
could
to
be.
college. He had a full ride. It showed a video of him reading the letter of acceptance saying that they're going to pay for 4 years of his college education, everything. He's scot free, right? Within one semester, he quit school and he went and did what he did. So the FBI and so forth needs to find out what happened during that one semester at college, who got to him and who brainwashed him, and they should also be held accountable.
Yep. I need you to move to your right so that you're not cut off, or your left, I
There
guess.
we go.
There it is, so that your face doesn't get cut off by your camera.
Well,
Philip, what do you think?
I want you to be wrong. I really want that to be wrong. I think there are a lot of things in here. First of all, I want to bring up Dennis Prager, who one of the things he led me to was to find the difference between liberals and leftists. And if this helps separate the liberals from the leftists, I think that's a very big thing, because there are people in that party who just go along with the loudest noise. And if they can't be separated, maybe we can't do much with this. But I see things like the concurrent resolution for Charlie to be laid in the Capitol. It's not a law. It's just it's an inclusionary thing between the House and the Senate. to make that happen. When I see that a particular religious group comes together from New Zealand in England to do something in the way of a traditional ceremony, um, I think that we're on our way uh, to that change. The conservatives have vetted their anger into exposing people who thought this was a good idea and cheering, and they're exposing them to their employers, and which is much better than going into the street and burning cities and busting businesses up. And I agree that there's probably a couple of week period here where we're going to see how far this is going to go. We have a different group running the show. We have Cash Patel. We have a whole different administrative point of view in this government, and I think that could make a big difference.
I read that people are saying that Dan Bongino doesn't have any experience and he may not be the right man to bubble it up. Ray, I'm going to try to bring you in if you want to come in. I can't guarantee that you will be allowed to do so because I am limited in my power to do so. But if you want to come in, Ray, I will bring you aboard and we'll just see how we go. If you want to come in, let us know. But I think you're right, Philip, that maybe, actually both of you are right, maybe we have to blow off some steam, and because the Democrats or the left would blow off steam and then come and do their thing with us. So, maybe that's going to happen too. But this is far bigger than Republicans and Democrats. It's Americans and time to take leadership and control of our country and take it away from bad people. And there's bad people on both sides. But I throw it back to you guys.
I think we need to somehow legally take a closer look at what the professors in the universities are teaching our children, what the textbooks are teaching our children. And if we find something that strongly goes against our will, or not our will, our traditions, then they need to be changed. We need to understand that even though they're 17, 18, maybe 19 years of age, they're still formative minds. And that's why when a professor can tell a class full of students to go out there and protest or riot or paint up that statue or whatever, they run out and they do it because they are still very much under the influence of being a child and the brain still being formed. That's why, the military, wants to bring in 18 to 20-year-olds because they're still being able to tell them, drop down, give me 20 or give me 100. They do it without even questioning the order because they're still formulating their minds. So we need to find out what universities, and it shouldn't be too damn hard. Just walk into the classroom, see how the professor is dressed, or makeup, or hairstyle, or whatever. Okay, or what's on the walls. Okay, a surprise inspection, right? Get some undercover people in there who look like a student. Have them go in there, record the professor's tirades against the government, and then go in there and say, "You're out of here because you're teaching all this bullshit." It's like when Hitler came into power. He went after the young people, because they're still having their minds formulated. So
he was very
so we need to start in our schools. I think we need to start in as early as preschool. I mean, we constantly are reading how this poor child was beaten or raped, and the child's only like 5, 6, 7 years of age, and because we go in, we drop off our little toddler. The toddler's one of maybe 30 to 40 other toddlers in this classroom, and you have 2 or 3 females or males who are supposed to be teaching our children how to read, write, and color, and so forth, and they're being molested, they're being harmed, they're being whatever. We need to look at our educational system and start with that. I think they might see a huge difference in how our kids come out.
Okay, Ray, the link is there for you if you want to join us. Set up your studio and come join us. Philip, I bounce back and forth between everybody. So, Philip,
Yeah,
I like everybody to
I
have a
agree with the
chance.
school thing. I went back to college. I'm in my 70s now, but I went back to college in my 50s to get another degree, and I was absolutely amazed at the apathy that was there with the younger students in 18, 19, 20 years old, and they were easy to mold because the professor can say, "Listen, this week's test is going to be go out in the street and protest it, and everybody that does that gets an A on this week's test." And we don't see that from our. If someone in that classroom doesn't protest that or bring that forward, we don't see that. And I agree with Randy. These people need to be held accountable, and that's one of the things I was mentioning at the beginning. I think that I'm seeing a lot of these people being held accountable right now. Whether this will continue weeks or months from now, when they do dumb things beyond just protesting, um, or being joyful over Kelly's death, is what's getting them in trouble now. Will that carry over to not being American? Will we get a law coming through the House and the Senate so that you have to be a born American to be in the House and the Senate? Will we do these things where we don't have these radicals coming from other countries going into a community where they've been loaded up with and I'll use the Somalis, being loaded up in a community with the Somalis, and so then they can get elected to Congress from that community because they're part of that.
Okay, very good. For a moment, we're going to just remind everybody that we are live on my profile and the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel. I'm sorry, I had a Joe Biden moment there for a moment. Ray joins us, and I appreciate that he joined. Randy Rhodes is here. Philip Marshall is here. If you don't know Philip Marshall, he was a moderator in one of our groups, and then he slipped out that he was an admin in a 160-member group, 160,000 member group, excuse me. And I saw that and said, oh, cool, I can grab Philip. And I did. So I'm very happy with Philip anyway. But Ray is here with us, and Ray gets a chance to introduce himself. You know him from the Patriots Lab. And we're happy when we get a chance to ride on the Patriots Lab network because everybody everywhere gets a chance to see us. So good morning, Ray.
Good morning, gentlemen. How's everybody doing today?
Well, thanks.
Is my volume down?
No, I can hear you. I think everybody was giving you your turn to introduce yourself to anybody who doesn't know you. But
I'm Ray Fagans, host of the Patriots Lab Uncensored.
Okay.
Good morning. How's everybody?
All right.
No, I just got some coffee and got on my phone and seeing you gentlemen were live and was listening to your conversation and didn't expect to see y'all up this early in the morning.
Well, I decided to do one more. I think Saturday mornings at 10 o'clock is going to turn into a good time. And if it doesn't turn into a good time on Facebook, we're going to take it and podcast it and make it a good time for everybody.
Right. Well, you got to. And as always, prayers out to the Kirk family. But I don't know if y'all have been paying attention, been observing or watching what's been starting to happen with a lot of individuals, at least expressing themselves on social media, and it's getting to a point now to where I'm really getting nervous. I'm getting nervous on one hand and scared on the other hand, because how much is too much? When is enough enough? How many times are you gonna let your kid come home getting bullied and beat up before you tell them, take your butt back? Matter of fact, I'm going with you. We're gonna handle this shit right now. You know, they keep poking the bear. They keep poking the bear. You know, we keep turning the other cheek. You know, that's how we roll. That's how Charlie rolled.
Yep.
That's how we were taught. That's our values. Turn the other cheek.
Yep.
But it comes a time when a man has to stand up, not just for what he believes in, but for what is right. And I'm starting to hear chirps, man. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Do we have to take another body blow before? I mean, what?
We don't have to, but I think we're going to. Grady Judd, who is the sheriff down in Polk County, Florida, who had to deal with the Parkland shooting, everybody knows, came on yesterday and said that Florida is, I guess, going from a constitutional concealed carry state to an open carry state, or maybe going the other way. I don't remember. But it scared me to think that now people don't know, unless you check into it, the what to do to carry a gun. And this isn't about the what to do to carry a gun. You need to feel safe, and I understand that. And I hope that you do feel safe by carrying the gun. I hope you're properly trained to use it. But you tell me you're right. Well, go ahead, Phil.
Yeah, we've been concealed carry without a permit for some time. We had a law against open carry, and that was found to be unconstitutional yesterday. Right. And on the 25th of the month, we will go to open carry. Here's my opinion on this. I carry all the time. My family does. We have military, or at least, I hate to say ex-military, but the youngins are older now, and they've done their time. They carry all the time. My opinion is against open carry, because if there's somebody that wants your gun and they see that you have a weapon and you're walking around with this thing on your hip, listen, I'm an old guy. It's pretty easy to come up behind me. I can't turn around real quick. I don't go forward real quick all the time. I don't carry a weapon for anything other than self-defense. And maybe more so because I've been used to doing that for years and years. I've always done that. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it holds down crime. My problem is when you go into a place that has a big sign out front that says, no weapons allowed. I see that as an opportunity for someone who's not going to obey that. If you have gun laws that say you can't carry, people that are going to commit crime are going to carry. They don't care about that law, because they don't care about any of the laws. You can't. I would rather have a law that says you can't. Just tell the people that are coming to your church or your government building, I don't want you to bring your weapon in here. Because if you bring a concealed weapon into a place that says a private business says you're not allowed to do it here, you are automatically an armed trespasser. And in Florida, that's a felony. So if you're going to carry, you need to be very careful and know the laws around what you're doing.
Yep. What do you think, Ray? And you're former military like Philip, so what do you think?
Well, he's correct, but we have to understand if you're a private business, it's your call. I mean, that's one of the things why they call it private. You have the right to do that, but you also leave yourself open and susceptible to things that can happen by people that won't obey that rule that you have in place.
Yep.
We all have the right to bear arms as a citizen of this great country. What's crazy is the cities with the most high crime rate are cities where they don't allow guns. I mean, so DC, no guns, but high gun violence. Chicago, no gun law, high crime violence. New York, no gun law, but high gun violence. This is stuff that defies logic, and for people not to want, I don't even think this area has even been addressed or even put together.
Right.
Y'all are mad because Donald Trump is coming to clean up a situation that shouldn't even be existing.
Right.
These are places that guns aren't allowed.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
but we know who we're dealing with. But like I stated earlier, people are getting tired of these people.
Right.
I mean, people are getting tired of these people. So, Democratic Party, you better rein in your lunatics. Republican Party, rein in your lunatics. Because, like I've been telling people for years, this ain't about Democrat or Republican, and you two gentlemen can vouch for me. This is all about good and evil. This is all about good and evil. And what have I told you? America goes as the American people take it. Which way we go in America? Which way? What direction will we go in? Because can't no government take us in no direction. Can't no military take us in no direction. Because at the end of the day, 365 million plus Americans are the biggest military that there is. So all of these entities can't take us in either or direction. It's we the people. And I'm hearing the church get louder and broader, and people are starting to understand, hey, ain't nobody gonna come save us. Because the people that are supposed to be protecting us are the ones in charge that are doing it to us.
I think the signs need to be removed from churches, and you have a right to have open carry. I think the rights need to be removed, the sign needs to be removed from schools, but not everybody goes in carrying a gun. And I'm sorry that may alienate the 9 people watching or others that are involved in the conversation. And the only reason I say that is because some people on both sides of the aisle should not have a gun. Go ahead, Phil.
You shouldn't have a gun if you can't be proficient in it.
Right.
If you're going to own a gun, you go to the range, know your weapon, keep it clean. There's a routine that you need to follow with that. And you're right, Ray, this is a moral problem. We're in a good versus evil. There's not a lot of difference, in my opinion, between the parties as far as their worldview.
No, we're messing up. We're messing up a rich man's game here. We're messing up a global entity's game here. We are putting our nose in the business of we're meddling in their business, and they don't like this. We're meddling in their business, And the deep
We are.
state does not like it. What did Charlie Kirk do? The only thing Charlie Kirk did was promote his love for Jesus Christ and his Savior. Only thing Charlie Kirk, you know what? Hey, I think your opinion totally no sense, but let's talk about it. That's all. And see, the powers to be. You know how they say you can see your future flash before your eyes? They seen Charlie Kirk taking Gen Z and bringing them to, not only to Christ, but bringing them to conservatism through common sense. Sometimes, you know, a dumb person ain't going to stay dumb if you can hit them with that common sense. And take so many kids that I thought initially started out to seem like they were stupid and dumb. But then I'm like, okay, so you got some common sense. You know how to receive some information, download into the brain God gave you, and say, you know what, that was some bullshit I was believing. Yep. They didn't. That can't happen. But you know what happened? They didn't do nothing. Create million on million.
One thing.
His project is not in vain.
Yep. Hang on just a second. Cookie Malone is watching, and I want to say good morning. Okay, before Randy, Cookie Malone is watching. Cookie Malone wrote the song Boogie with the Bull. It has nothing to do with politics. It's an ode to Schlitz malt liquor, which is his favorite brew, and 14 others, which are not his favorite brew. One of these days, yes, I will play it on a Boogie with the Bull, but I'm very happy every time my friend Cookie Malone watches Boogie with the Bull. He is a very hardcore Republican, a former Green Beret. I'm not sure. He might actually still be a Green Beret, but there were some issues. And, but he's a very hardcore conservative, and I appreciate when he watches. Now, I'll throw it up in the air, and you guys tell me who had the mic.
I did.
Okay.
So look, one thing that I know, because I've been in college. I went back. I was in college right out of high school for 2 years, and then I went back to college when I was old and got my bachelor's degree. But one thing that I know about college students, and I mentioned this earlier, is that they're very influenceable. Okay. So if you sit a kid into a classroom for 45 minutes and you got a professor who hates Trump or hates the Christ or whatever his situation is, and he's there espousing all this hatred instead of teaching the course people are paying him for, eventually he's going to win over a large number of his students because they are being brainwashed. And unfortunately, I also know, because I have one in my household who lives here, is that Democrats and liberals tend to get very angry when confronted with an idea that is not quite the same as theirs. And that's what Charlie Kirk was doing. He was listening to the conversation. The liberal Democrat student said, I'm a he, they, whatever the frick their gender was. And all he did was ask them, well, can you describe to me what a male is? What's a female? What's the male? Why do you think that? And when you start confronting the student with the possibility that they have to think for themselves, that they have to come up with an answer other than what was downloaded into their brains, they get angry. They start to fight back. They start to argue. They start to spit and yell and do everything to put up walls because they don't know the answer. They don't know how to respond. And that's why they make for very good soldiers, whether it be a good soldier or a bad soldier, to convince them, take this rifle, shoot, and you see the target, pull the trigger, and get the hell out of there. And that's what we're seeing happening. Like I said earlier, we need to get undercover men and women into all the schools from preschool to a doctorate school, and see what the hell the teachers, our professors are teaching the students. And if it's not what they're being paid to do, then they need to be removed. And once you start doing that, then you'll start getting this country back on its right course. I'll guarantee you, 2 weeks from now, when all this hullabaloo about Charlie Kirk being assassinated and his poor wife and the kids and so forth, it's all going to go back to the way it was before. No one cares. No one wants to listen. No one. I mean, look at the actor who just died. I think it wasn't Puerto Rico, but one of those Pacific nations where he drowned in the ocean. He tried to save his daughter. He saved his daughter. He himself drowned. I forget the guy's name. See, that's how it is, But he was a big a big star. He had a huge hit on series on TV.
Yep. I know who you're talking about, Randy, but unfortunately, my excuse is dementia. I don't always remember everybody's names, but you're right.
And the thing with churches, churches are there for one purpose, that is to glorify God. It's not there to tell the parishioners to rise up and go out there into the streets and take back the streets. That's what the soldiers are for. So churches are going to be there for prayer, for comfort, for support, and that's it. They're not going to teach us to go out there and defend ourselves against the enemy. And I hate to say it, but that's my 60 some odd years of seeing life as it is. And most of the times I've been correct, but I mean, look at Trump. I mean, he was almost assassinated. We had a big hullabaloo. Everyone was praying and so forth, and God was with Trump, and he survived, and they're back making fun of him. I mean, the politicians, that's also a good place to start changing our country. I mean, all the guy, the Speaker of the House wanted was, I think someone called for a moment of silence for Charlie Kirk, and the Democrats booed and hissed and carried on like little children.
They did. I'm going to throw it to you guys, Philip and Ray, and see who goes with first. Philip has his arms crossed, and Ray was bouncing around in his chair, so I'm going to throw it to Ray first.
Nah, as I do, especially when it comes to my brother Randy, I take notes. Me and Randy, we got this we got this history.
Everybody has this history. Philip will have it soon.
But
go ahead, Ray.
Hey, go ahead, Phil. You can go if you got something on your mind, bro.
Oh no, go ahead, go. I'm
okay. I'm sorry.
Hey,
it was just Randy. Him sitting with his arms crossed. He looked like he had something that he wanted to say. This is the first time Brother Philip has joined us on a broadcast, and I'm trying to read body language so I know when to pass the mic.
Hey, Mr. Randy, I'm gonna start off by saying this. Maybe it's a black thing, but we don't just forget. The gentleman's name was Malcolm Jamal Warner. Now, we remember and we still grieve. So you might forget.
Okay. That's all I'm saying.
That's all I'm saying.
First off, I've been on gabapentin 13 years, and one of the side effects of gabapentin is no. One of the side effects of gabapentin is short-term dementia, and I've been seeing a lot of gaps in memory. But you know what? let's address that. You said it's a black issue. One thing I have learned.
No, I didn't say it was a black issue.
Wait,
No, see, you see, you're not gonna hijack.
Wait. Give me a moment.
I didn't say it was a
It's a
black
good
issue.
thing. It's a good thing. Okay. One thing that I've taken notice, maybe it's because of my genealogy stuff and all the people I come across. There are certain people within our country. And I think a good point, and it's a good thing, is that black folks. I mean, they are. They have strength. They have stamina. They go to church normally. That they come out singing and praising they go out. They try to. They see the youth. They see the direction they're going. They're trying. The black folks are powerful. Entity to deal with. I'm not probably not using the right word.
All right, can I reclaim my time back now? Can I reclaim my time back?
Go ahead.
That's all I'm saying. I mean, can I reclaim my time back? Where was I? So we don't forget. And the ones that make fun of Trump and boo Trump, dude, that's gonna happen. We can't pay attention to that. Those are the same people that are getting their ass fired today for laughing over what happened to our brother Charlie Kirk. So
yeah, you're right.
We got it.
There's a lot of people. There's a lot of employers right now going back through their employees' social media, and they're firing them. Even in the military, there was a captain of the United States Marines. He just lost his job because he made comments about Charlie Kirk.
Well, hey, this is how it operates. God works in crazy and mysterious ways. See, this ain't about Democrat or Republican.
God needs to.
These people are God-fearing Christians, and you're mocking a God-fearing Christian man. Yes, your ass is getting a pink slip.
Come here.
Yes. Do you know I love nothing more than to see Jerry Jones pissed me off when he did that to Michael Parsons. But when he built that memorial in Dallas Stadium for my Jerry, you're forgiven. You're forgiven, brother. But to see all the black NFL quarterbacks, to see the black wide receivers, to see Ice Cube, just to see black people, black men that aren't supposed to feel a
They are supposed to feel that way.
They
are supposed to feel that
They're men of God.
I'm sorry I cut you off, Ray, but they are supposed to feel that way. And it is okay to feel that way. It's okay for everybody to feel that way. Even professional Jews like myself. It's okay to feel this way. That's one of my critical, important things to say right now. It is important for everybody. I don't care who you are. It is important for you to feel the way that you feel. We need to come together and feel that way. Continue on. You did reclaim.
You know the happiest sight I seen the other day was the vigil that they was holding for Charlie Kirk at the University of Phoenix Christian campus. And you seen all them little young kids out there with their American flags. And then for some reason, a bully really thought he was gonna go through there saying fuck Charlie Kirk. They whooped his ass. About 100 of them stomped. I took so much joy and so much pride looking at these little pencil neck geeks turn into warriors. This guy really thought he was gonna go punk everybody. See, that's what they're used to doing. That's what they're used to doing to their people. They ain't gonna do that to a bunch of black people. They know they but see, they think they can do that to. They think see, this is crazy. They whooped his ass. The police didn't lock up none of them kids. They took old boy, escorted him off where he got a second round of what they gave him the first time. I was so proud. I said, look at y'all. Y'all went from waving flag, the American flag, and holding candles to whooping his ass. I love seeing that shit. And see, that's what it's coming to. because ain't nobody coming to save us. Who's coming to save us? It's citizen against citizen right now. You see how I rock it? So what, am I supposed to just put my shit in storage now, pack it away, don't go out? No! Run up on me. Yeah.
There are enormous.
Time for fun and games is over, yo. Time for fun and games is over.
Yep.
I'm trying to tell you now.
Randy, there are
Hey,
enormous amount of black men and women conservatives that are on Facebook right now that have been sitting home quiet and trying to run a good household, that are out there saying enough is enough. You need to see us because you don't need to think that all of us are the people that are running around rioting and looting and stealing things. And I come from a perspective that I'll
hey,
share with you right now. I don't like the word stepchildren because my kids are my kids, but I have 4 black stepchildren, and I lived in northwestern North Carolina with them, and that wasn't necessarily an easy thing back in the 90s. There were just undercurrents there because those are real mountain rednecks up that way. My kids are all conservative because that's the viewpoint they grew up with in their home. And I can remember going to church. The first time I met one particular pastor, Ricky, I'm going to tell you, we're talking about a large man. We're talking 6'9", 350 pounds. When he jumped up and down, as he was a fire and brimstone preacher, and I seen the dust come out of that floor and crack the floor, I thought, we're all going to die right here when this floor goes by. There is a cultural difference there that you're very right about. There's a culture that lies on where it comes from, whether it's food, politics, religion. Black people have a different culture.
Yep.
And I personally, I like,
well,
I really, I'm very good friends with, well, one of my children on that side. Fortunately, a very good person, and he's where he belongs. The other 3, I'm still very good friends with them. And I'm very proud of where they've gone with their life because of their points of view.
It is important. It really is important. Randy, you want to speak?
Do I want to speak?
Well, I mean, I know you're banging the typewriter, the keyboard, because I know you work while you're on, and I want to make sure you have a chance.
You know, I said this to my wife the other day. I understand that, Charlie Kirk was a very important person. He did a lot. Okay, he had Trump's ear. He had a lot of the Republicans' leadership's ear. Uh, he was a very strong Christian, loving husband and wife, and we had the FBI and all the other federal government's police looking for the killer of Charlie Kirk, and I think it took the $100,000. One of the reasons why he got caught was $100,000 award, and the fact that a family member recognized the picture and called up the father and said, "Hey, your son killed Charlie Kirk," and somehow the father convinced the son to go with him to the police department, knowing more than likely that he's taking his son to his death because the state has the death penalty, and
Yep.
and the prosecutor is pushing for the death for this guy. But then I look at that young lady who is on the subway, and there's been others, okay, and who were horrendously murdered.
Yep.
And they're already forgotten. I don't think the guy got caught yet. I could be wrong about that. No one came to the rescue of that woman on the subway or after the fact until they felt they were safe. But this young lady died a horrific death. shouldn't have. She left Ukraine because of the war, only to be murdered in the United States. So why aren't the flags lowered at half mast for her? What makes her life any less important than that of Charlie Kirk's, other than the fact that he was a friend of President Trump and other big political people? I don't think
Okay.
Right. Okay.
You- Once again, Randy, you're missing the whole point. Yes, the young girl that got assaulted, and by the way, he was apprehended. Um, but and I don't know his name, so he's not important. But she is. And she was from Ukraine, but with her situation, it was tragic, like a lot of tragic situations. Um, and it was highly publicized, yeah, but we're not going to lower
Well,
the flag for every
if
horrific tragedy, death that takes place like that.
uh,
But in Charlie Kirk, listen, in Charlie Kirk's situation, this is a man that was the future, possibly the future president, possibly the future vice president. This was America's future. This was an individual that, if it was not for him galvanizing the youth vote for Donald Trump, possibly and just possibly, Donald Trump wouldn't have been president today. This is a man that, after he did his job to help get Donald Trump elected, continued, like my wife said, oh, a lot of people did this. Not like Charlie Kirk. You go show me another man that brung millions over campuses throughout the world of the opposite opinion to bring them together, just to give them a little bit of common sense, just to give them a little bit of what God blessed him with, and cultivate a culture that was lost. But let's not forget, he was the future. The future what? We'll never know.
okay.
And Donald Trump treats the people that do for him with respect. That's why I respect Donald Trump.
Okay.
He doesn't forget the people that did him wrong. He doesn't forget the people that has done him right. And he treats them in a way that they deserve to be treated.
Okay. I'm going to reclaim my time for about 30 seconds, Ray. If you are an American and you want to drop your flag to half staff to show your respect for the lady from Ukraine that was attacked and died, you drop that flag to half mast. And when someone sees it and they knock on your door and they ask why, because some people will, because they want to know, you tell them it is for that lady from Ukraine. It is also I don't want to say mingled, but it's coexisting in a time that it is down at half mast for Charlie Kirk, because that is important as well. I will never discount why a flag is down at half mast. I will always want to find the story because that's what I want to know. It's important. It's important to me. The other thing I did want to bring up is the death penalty. I don't know if the death penalty works. I do know that it works, that killer that killed the Ukraine lady. She does have a name, and I have dementia, so I can't remember it, but she does have a name, existed, and she was killed the wrong way. So maybe you have to kill that person who killed her the same way, just like you have to kill Charlie Kirk's person the same way. But I don't.
Well, what does it say in the Bible? An eye for an eye.
Right. I don't know if it does. if it does any good. But that seems to be where we are and where we want it to be right now. And I will return it to Ray or Randy or Philip, whoever wants to take it next.
I think the
It
death
comes
penalty
down.
in this country has become too sanitized. You're right. That if we had, you can disagree with me wholeheartedly. If we had guillotines, if we had firing squads, if we had public executions, if we didn't talk about these people that did the crime, I don't need to know what this kid's name is. I don't even
Right.
care what he looks like.
Right.
He's a piece of shit. Okay, when you glorify them, there's another moron sitting out there who's a nobody who wants his 15 minutes of fame, who's going to go do the same kind of trash so he can get his 15 minutes of fame. Cut the 15 minutes of fame off. You want to give him 15 minutes of fame? When you're all done with him, give it to him right in front of a firing squad and do it in public, because then it's real.
Yeah.
It's not real when it's done behind a closed door with an injection and nobody sees the person withering and dying. They're just another dead body, and the left is willing to sacrifice their own, so they don't care.
Ray?
But this is one of the things I love about my president, because he also understands the time for games is over.
Right. Yes,
You know, I'm so impressed with his second term. First term, he spent time playing games with these idiots. Now he's doing what he knows needs to be done.
he had
And
to learn it. He had
it's
to
time
learn it.
for it's time. The accountability has been missing for so long, from the youth of these inner cities to the psychos that exist and walk among us and just do crazy shit to, accountability. That's what it all comes down to for every situation on whatever level, no matter what. Accountability. That's why he's going into these cities where, oh, we ain't got no crime problem. Crime dropped from 80% to 75%. So you say it's on the right trajectory down.
You
Listen,
still got a problem. It's a
you don't listen to
70%.
that. That's that stuff you don't listen to. This man is going into every city that's got an issue, got a problem, and he's getting ready to take care of it.
Yep.
Now, for how long it's going to stay that way, I don't know. But I know one thing for damn sure. He going in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
He getting ready to go into Memphis right now.
Yep. Irene does say it right. They sit on death row for too long. Execution should be handed down the moment they're found guilty. And that's 100% true. I don't pay federal income tax, and Florida doesn't have a state income tax. So in theory, and I don't own property. So in theory, I don't pay taxes. I pay gas tax when I buy gasoline for the car. But the reality is we should not have to pay for these people to be in prison for life. That's a penalty for us. And we can either address that here or we can address it on another Boogie with the Bull. But as far as I'm concerned, we should not have to pay for someone to exist in prison for the rest of their life.
Who would actually be in charge of, what department would be in charge of how things like that change from letting people? I mean, because why would you let somebody stay in there for the rest of their life? Just they're taking up empty space. They're taking up our money.
I think it's given to them as a punishment because you have a lot of time left before you die, and I may be wrong, but you have a lot of time left before you die, and you have a lot of time to think about what you did.
That's damn sure.
I don't know if you need that time, only because you're going to go to God, and you're going to have to explain to God what you did, why you did it, and you're going to have to deal with God. And I'm a firm believer that I don't believe hell exists at all, period.
Hey, bro.
No,
Hey,
hell,
hey.
hell,
When they
hell
send
is a
them to prison, that
Christian.
is hell.
Okay, hell is a Christian philosophy, as far as I'm concerned. I will give you a moment to talk, Ray. You have to give me a moment to talk. There are multiple levels of heaven. That's what we were taught. And you may not get the nicest level of heaven because you did something wrong. And when you have served your time in that nicest level, in that bad level of heaven, you go to God again and you have a chance to say, yes, I learned what I did was wrong. God says you don't kill. That's one of our commandments. It's one of your commandments because everybody seems to take the 10
God
commandments
said you don't murder.
and adopt it. Okay, I'm sorry, Phil. God said you don't murder. So go from level 1 with God, with Jesus, with everybody else, and go down to level 666. And when you think you have figured that out, go back to level 1 and sit with God. And if he agrees, then, you might not be back at level 2 where you lived. You might be back at level 222. I don't know.
So, hey, Randy, I see you shaking your head. So what level? Hey, Randy, what level of heaven are you going to end up at?
See,
I know it sounds crazy when I said it, but just
No,
play along with me.
I want Randy to play along, and you don't sound crazy
Okay.
because this is me throwing
Well,
in
in my teaching, that
a
would be crazy. I'm just saying. Just
I know, but it's me throwing in a Jewish philosophy
there you
for a
go.
change.
I know.
Because
I was being sarcastic.
I know, because I'm the professional Jew here. I've been a Jew for 63 years. So it's just me throwing in another view besides Christian. And it's no disrespect to my Christian friends or my Christian family
None taken. None
who is
taken. But
not
getting
here.
back to Mr. Randy. Mr. Randy,
Okay.
what level of heaven will you be going to when your day is here over in Earth?
okay. One thing that my parents always taught me is amongst friends, you don't talk politics or religion, but I will at least answer the question from, okay, from how I was raised, okay? Um, uh,
We're heading out.
Okay. Thank you.
I was,
Max and Joe are out. That's it.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. I'm sorry. My family is leaving. Part of my family is leaving. Part of my family already left for the day. I'm here by myself.
so uh, I, for the most part of my life, until I stopped driving because of being disabled, went to a Baptist church.
Mhm.
Okay, a traditional Baptist church, which means the only instrument inside that church was an organ and a piano. No drums, no guitars, no jumping in the pews, nothing like that. It was very straight face. Take your Bible, you sit down, you get preached to. Okay, so based on that life experience and what I truly believe, um, and I have to say this too. I haven't read my Bible in many, many years. There's a reason for that. So I'm not going to go into that right now. But um, the minister taught us that there's only one way to heaven. You have to accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. You could be the worst possible person in the entire world, but at the last minute, when you're facing death, and you say, Lord Jesus, please forgive me for the sins I committed. I believe you're the son of Jesus Christ, blah, 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 blah. Okay, that prayer, boom, you're in heaven. Okay. There are no levels of heaven now. We're taught, and the Bible says that you are rewarded for your time here on Earth for whatever you did. If you were a minister of multi millions of parishioners, if you were a person who sacrificed your life for the life of others, you know, uh, if you did all the right things, okay, when you died and went straight to heaven, your soul goes straight to heaven. There's nothing in between. You go to heaven. If your name's in the book of life, you're left in, and then you're given your reward. And there's different things that they give for rewards, but the purpose of it is you take that reward, you walk up to Jesus, and you put it at the foot of Jesus because we are not worthy of the reward. Only Jesus Christ is, and then we live the rest of our eternity in heaven. There is a hell. So if you do not believe in Jesus Christ, your Lord and Savior, and you die, you're going straight to hell.
No,
There's
no.
Hey, hold on.
hey,
You know,
Okay.
hey, there was
I'm
a
sorry.
reason I
I'm
stayed
sorry.
out of this.
I'm
You know,
sorry.
I
I'm
did
sorry.
that
I kinda-
intentionally.
See,
I
this
just
is
wanted to
why
sit
I
back and watch
and
Okay.
listen,
this.
and
Okay.
this is why I'm saying we
Go ahead,
should
Randy.
not talk religion with
No.
friends because there is a
No.
difference of
No,
opinion
go
of
ahead,
what we
Randy.
believe. No, I'm
See,
done.
but no,
Okay.
no. See, we're grown men. And
Okay.
grown men cannot. If grown men cannot sit down and have a decent conversation from politics
Right.
to religion, what the hell? What the hell?
We
You
can
see,
have.
I didn't take his offense when he said,
Okay.
you know, how he thinks there's levels.
Okay.
I like to make light of it. So
No. Okay.
my God, the way I was taught,
Yep.
either you going down or you going up. If I make it up, my God going to say, "Welcome home, my good and faithful servant." You
Right.
know what I mean? So I don't know about the gifts and all that stuff. I know there are many
Right.
for many mansions. I got a room and stuff. I don't know what it looked like. I hope it got a podcast up in there and stuff like that. But what you saying when you go see your God? See, I thought we was the first. I thought our people was the ones to come up and say there's levels to this. But obviously, when you go see your God, he greets you and says, "Yo, son, there's levels to this. You're not just a welcome home. You don't know if you in the
Well,
You don't know if you're in the trailer, the outhouse. What?
I don't know, but I know that my father, who passed away 6 years ago, and is Jewish, and didn't accept Jesus as his savior when he died, is in heaven. Is in heaven.
When did he call you? When did he call you?
And he sat with God, and he had dinner with God, which my belief is you go up, you have dinner with God. You go in. My father, who didn't smoke, went into the den, and God and him had coffee because my father was the coffee man.
Right.
We can talk about that on another show. They had coffee, and they talked politics, and they talked religion, and they talked Mort Glovin's life.
Right.
And he is there. He's on level 1.
Okay. Now check it. Because you know I love throwing out olive branches.
Okay.
Now I'm gonna go with you, Dave.
Okay.
As far this is how far I'm gonna go with you on this. I'm gonna go as far as you saying he's there.
Mhm.
But really,
Well, okay, we lost you for a second. If we lost you, Ray, please come back. All I'm going to say is that.
Can you hear me?
Is that, yeah. All I'm going to say is I think it's a place that you go because the Christians say it's a place where you go.
I hate answering phone calls.
We say you go into the light and you become one with God. And that's it. And that's where your family is. That's where everybody else is. Go ahead, Phil, because I know we've delayed you speaking too. Did we lose you, Philip? Did you freeze? Okay, hold on.
I think he's frozen.
I think he is frozen, but let me bring Ray back. Okay, there's Ray. Philip, are you
See,
frozen?
that's what happens when I'm on my. Nah,
No,
anytime I get
no.
a phone call on my phone, it'll
Right.
just drop me and stuff.
I
But
think Phil.
hey,
I think
it's coming
Philip. I
together.
think Philip. Right. I think Philip froze. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to.
Oh, I'm here. I'm moving. I'm
Oh,
watching
okay.
and listening because I
Okay.
don't. I was
All right.
brought up
No,
immersed
you're here.
in the
Good.
Catholic religion.
Okay.
Immersed for way too much
Right.
of my life, and I spent a lot of time in the Bible Belt with Baptist and free will people, and the idea that there's a particular phrase that you need to say, I do feel for myself that you need to acknowledge Jesus Christ to get in
Okay.
heaven, but I
Okay.
also understand that that's not the anvil, or you're
Right.
not going to meet any indigenous American Indians who had much more um, uh, were much more together with nature and the land and the spirits that they had. If you only have that one phrase, that one prayer that was made by man to get to heaven, you're not going to find Indians in heaven,
It,
indigenous Americans, and that's not going to be true. You're going to be very surprised if you
it's
get there when you see all of those people there.
at the early age, and I don't remember how old I was, but it was an early age. I started questioning. I have to go through Jesus to talk to God because we were taught that we speak to God directly and God speaks to us directly. I don't care what anybody else says. God talks to me directly. I have talked to God on numerous occasions. I have said that I was sitting on the launch pad and God said to me, "You have a tool bag. I have put tools in there. When you need it, it will be there. And you will know that it's there. Don't search the tool bag now trying to figure out all the cool gadgets that you have, but it will be there when you need it." God also said to me on another occasion, it could have been a dream, it could have been a vision, I don't know what. But he said, "David, my son, you are a communicator. It is your job to communicate to people. You need equipment to do it. What you have on the desk in front of you is what you need. And when you don't need that anymore, I will make sure you have what you need." And he showed me a studio beyond my wildest dreams. And then I woke up because I'm sure the meeting was over. And that's why we're here on my wife's 4 gigabyte Hewlett Packard Chromebook, and we're not on my 2 gigabyte Samsung Chromebook. But I guess you guys get the general idea. Yes, religion
Well,
and politics are a bad idea, but unfortunately, I happen to like putting them together if everybody puts them together and respects everybody else.
well,
So
hey, I got a question for everybody. Everybody on the panel can believe God's word is true. No matter what religion you represent, we
right,
can all agree that God's word is true, correct?
yeah.
So when the Father says, "If you deny me, I will deny you," what does that mean?
You're not
Then
going to heaven.
you don't get in.
All
But
right,
the
so his word is
fathers,
so
but the
let see. I don't deal with the nuances, Dave. You know I don't deal with the nuances.
right,
I go straight. I go straight to the actual and factual,
right. But the
straight to the
actual
nitty
and
and gritty.
factual
It's just a
is
yes or no
that
answer with me. It's not about
well,
explanations, anything. God's word is true, correct?
yes,
Correct.
but
So when
the
God says you
actual and
deny me,
factual
I will
is
deny
that
you.
if you deny me, you don't see me. So when you get to the gates of heaven and Jesus, his son, says, "You don't get in here because you're not on my book," that's what I don't believe in. But
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 you so
but
so 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 what you tell what you saying?
I'm also confused because there are people who believe that Jesus Christ was God personified,
Three
living
and
a
one.
life and
Three and one.
and
Three and
doing
one.
and right. But it was actually God.
So let me ask you a question. Hold on, because you go out a little bit too far for me sometimes.
Okay.
So you telling me Jesus gonna let you in, but he gonna deny you from seeing the Father. So you're gonna be walking around the whole crib, but you can't go knock on the Father door. You can't have a conversation with the Father.
I'm assuming the statement.
Jesus, yeah, you can sit down and have coffee with Jesus all day. But you
I assume
Jesus,
the
can I talk to
statement.
the big guy? No, you can't.
Well, look, okay, hear me out for a second. If
Okay.
the statement is true, if you want to talk to my Father, you must go through me.
Right.
That to me means that if you go to Jesus, and I don't mean any disrespect to anyone, and say, "Hey, G, I need to go see the man,"
Right.
and Jesus says, "No, you don't get in here
because you on the third floor."
Well, no,
you can't go to the first floor.
No, he says no.
You don't get to ride up to the first floor. You stuck on the third floor with me.
My speed pass doesn't work in the elevator to take me to the first floor, I guess.
Okay, but, I'm just making sure I got you correct. That's
a theory that Jesus has enough power to make sure that you don't go to the first floor and bother his dad. If that's true, Jesus and I are going to have some words.
Let me ask you a question. Because obviously you know the conversation. You know the conversation that took place. This is where I leaving off before I got connected. You know the conversation.
Okay.
You know they was having coffee. Let me ask you one question. See, because this will let me know if you really knew.
Okay.
What floor is Moses on?
Moses is on floor 1.
Now, how did Moses get to floor 1?
Because Moses was the big man as far as being Jewish. Moses was the big man.
How you know he ain't on floor 2? How do you know he ain't on floor 2?
Well, okay, we don't know anything that we don't actually go up and see, so we won't know until. So
wait a minute. You just said your dad had coffee. No, wait a minute. You just said your dad had coffee. They were sitting in the room. Mm-hmm. So obviously.
Well, I know that
you either seen it or you didn't see it, Dave.
I didn't see it, but my father told me.
So how you know?
My father told me that he was in the scene that you saw.
See, now you didn't tell me. You didn't tell me.
God book 2.
You didn't tell me. Your dad. See, this is you got to lead off so you don't send me off in the forest. Okay. You didn't tell me.
Okay.
You had a coup d'etat.
Right. My father came to me. My father came to me as he does usually every night, 15 minutes before I go to sleep. Or I think it's my father. It could be someone else. I don't know. But I want to believe that it is my father. And he said, "It's been a year. I'm settled in. Life is good. I see your Nana. I see your Papa. I see your aunt. I see your uncle. I see Nana's brother, Uncle Matty. All of these people.
Dave, you got me
there.
going. So you think it's your dad?
Tell you guys, for my first visit here, you have gone down some interesting exits off this highway from where we started.
But do you like it? That's the question. Are you enjoying it?
Oh, I enjoy anything like this. This is right up my alley.
I'm the tangent king.
I can hang around and do this dance all day long.
Dave,
I think
Dave,
I'm the tangent. Okay, hold on for a second. I'm the tangent king because I actually do have dementia. I have Lewy body dementia, little bodies of protein that are filling up my brain. I trust the doctor that has told me that this is there. I hear a bunch of things from other people on how to get rid of the Lewy bodies and turn your life around. And I don't know if it's 100% true or any truth because I haven't tried it. But within Lewy body dementia, I can say something and 15 minutes later, I'll say something else, meaning bring up another tangent. So I'm known I'm known for doing that. I always say, though, that if it bothers people that I have done that, please bring me back to where we want to be. I've said it to Ray. I've said it to Randy. I've said it to everybody.
No, you say some stuff
I've even
sometimes
said it
that get me going out in the forest. So that's all.
Okay. Well, you have to tell me. You have to tell me that I brought you out into the forest, like the gun. You have to say I brought you out into the forest, and give me a chance to explain where I am in the moment, because my brain went from here to way
Then you
over
out
here.
there with me then.
So, I'm out there with you. I'm putting myself back into the moment of where you are. My belief system is that, yes, every night at 15 minutes before I go to sleep, I see my father. And my father either smiles at me or my father looks mad at me. And my father then will say to me, I'm mad at you because you did this today. You did that today. You spoke to someone this way. You spoke to someone that way. You didn't respect your wife because you got
Hey,
mad and yelled at
let me
her.
ask you a question,
You didn't
because I'm starting to get the impression you already got 1 foot in the ground. I'm like, are
Well,
you half in? What's going on here, bro?
no, because the answer to
Your
that
time
question
running short with us? What's going on?
the answer to that question is that my wife told me that I'm going to be cremated. And the response to that is that I had a driver named Bob Guthrow out in California. And Bob Guthrow used to like to put his eye up and watch the cremations. No disrespect. He just wanted to make sure things were done the way they were supposed to do. And I can see Bob Guthrow going, he's gone. So
you got about 40 more years, 50 more years.
I was told that I had 20 more years. I was told I had 20 more years because I have said to a bunch of neurologists, the textbooks say 5 to 7, and I'm in year number 3, I think, 3 or 4 of the 7, and I want to be sure that it's more than 7 because I have grandchildren that I want to see grow up.
I know how you can be accurate. Now listen to me good, because I'm taking everything you told me.
Okay.
And I'm trying to put it together for you.
Okay.
This is what you do.
Okay.
When you talk to your dad tonight,
have a good shot of whiskey.
You tell your dad when he goes in there, has his next cup of coffee with the big guy on the first floor.
Yep.
Just ask him, say, yo, can you tell me how much time my boy got, so I can, when I talk to him tomorrow, I can let him know, because only he knows. He knows. We know the day. Let me finish. Know nor the day nor the hour. Only he knows. He comes like a thief in the night.
We don't. And God.
When you talk to your dad tonight, just be like, yo, Pop, do me a solid. Okay. When you talk to when you have coffee with the big guy tomorrow, just ask him. Give me an estimate.
He's not
going to give me a week.
Okay.
Give me a week. Give me a week time frame. I ain't going to ask,
He's not going to get the answer to that question, because God is going to say, you will tell your son. And the problem with your son is that your son will look at his watch and go, I have 45 minutes to do everything I need to do. I can't do it. Your son will worry about all of that stuff. I don't want your son to worry about all of that stuff. I want your son to enjoy whatever time he might have left. I do, in that regard, believe that God said to neurologists who were looking at the file and going, what do I see? God said.
So now we go from.
God said, yes.
So the neurologist,
the neurologist, wow. I'm sure, was looking at files,
right,
and going, the file says 20 years, and God said, what? You're right. It's 20 years. And because it is their job to look at that, and put me through a bunch of tests and said, yeah, for a 63-year-old man who's got dementia and Parkinson's, where you are is where you should be for a guy who's 63 years old and has dementia.
But
and
we know
Parkinson's.
that's only
Parkinson's
we
is
know
a little
that's
worse.
we know that's they
right,
guesstimate though. It could be tomorrow. Yeah,
it is. It is. It is because I think God is guessing. Because I think God, I don't mean guessing in the sense of guessing, but God is looking at the book every day and going, well, yeah, he did what he was supposed to do this day. Okay, he didn't see what he was supposed to do this day, but it was 75% of what he was supposed to do. Okay, he looked again. He was 50% on this day. He was 25% on this day. But you know what?
All right, hey Randy.
He was
I gotta go.
where he was supposed to be.
Now that we know that God goes,
So I'm going to let it slide on
where you
this.
going,
Mike,
Randy?
My time is up. It's been over an hour. I gotta get going.
Love you, bro.
I got work to do. People pay me, so I gotta get.
What book he goes through yours?
People pay me, so I gotta work.
Well, I appreciate.
Don't
you
work
being
too
here.
hard.
I appreciate you being here, and actually, you're 27 minutes over.
As far as I'm concerned, I don't like conversations that bring in religion unless the people in the conversation are of the same faith. Now, we are all Baptists, okay? All brought up the same beliefs, the same, how you get to heaven or how you get to hell and so forth, the same hymnals, the whole 9 yards. No problems. I'll talk. Yeah. But I find that when you are in, to me, when you're in a room of mixed beliefs, okay, each one of us have been brought up in our own churches or synagogues or mosque or wherever the hell we were raised in, okay, to believe as we believe.
Right.
And we're going to have our defined thoughts on that. And I don't like going into a room where my beliefs may offend, someone else. Now, I don't believe, well, I won't go into anymore, but there's a conversation I heard for the past 30 minutes. It's a conversation of how I was not brought up to believe. And that's why I kept silent. That's why I took off my headphones.
Okay.
Because you guys have no problems with that type of conversation. I do. I just, because it brings up inside of me, an argumentative, my argumentative side. Okay.
Let me ask you a question before you jump off the screen, Randy.
I want to give him a compliment.
If people of different faiths, different nationalities, if we never were able to adult together, should I say, and be able to understand one another, and the information that Dave give me will help me when I come across one of my other Jewish friends. It'll help me relate to them better. It'll help me understand where they're coming from better without open dialect. See, hey, if you're the type of person that can't sit down and agree to disagree and try to understand where another side is coming from without getting offended, maybe it's not for you. Me, I'm the type of individual, I want to educate myself through Dave because I want to know about the Jewish religion. I want to know what they believe in. I know we don't have the same value system when it comes to it. But nothing he says, because it ain't what I do, or what my religion does is going to offend me,
Yeah.
as long as he ain't bringing it towards me in a derogatory way or putting down my
Right.
religion.
Right.
We're here to enhance one another. We're here to uplift one another, but at the same time, we're here to educate one another on how we were
Right.
brought up religion wise.
Right. I want to give Randy through someone else, but a Southern Baptist funeral. A Southern Baptist funeral is one of the happiest occasions I have ever been at. And I weighed a lot less than I weigh now. And that grandmother looked like, for lack of putting it better, Aunt Jemima.
We don't
And
we
she,
don't we don't call it a funeral. We call it a going home service.
okay, the
Celebration of life.
the grandmother at that going home celebration of life lost her grandson, who I believe was in his early 50s or 60s, well before his time. She came up to me and she said, "Boy, you don't eat enough." She said, "You go up to that table, you try what you like, you try everything, you make a plate, and I better see you eat 10 plates before you go home." And I think I ate one or two more. And she came up to me and she said, "How many plates have you eaten?" I said, "Maybe two or three, because I don't eat much." She had what looked like, for lack of putting it better, a big trash bag full of stuff. She said, "I put together stuff for you so you could take home." And we talked. And like Ray said, it was a happy occasion. And she said to me, "I am not mad at anyone. My grandson would have wanted me to do this, even if it wasn't a going home celebration. She would have wanted me to do this." And I can still see the lady clear in my head. And I got to tell you, it was one of the happiest occasions of my life. But anyway, Randy, I don't want you to lose time. I love having you here. You know that, which is why we did everything we could to make sure we could have you here.
Yeah.
You want a
And
couple of
again,
minutes to say your goodbye?
Okay, it all boils down as to how we were all raised. Okay, and I can't change the way I am at this late stage of my life. Okay,
Right.
I was raised, you don't talk politics, you don't talk religion amongst friends and family. That's a no, okay? Because we all have our difference in opinions on both topics. So when I hear someone bring up religion or politics, I shut down because,
Okay.
but at the same time, we all have our own beliefs on the hereafter.
Mhm.
Um, I guess it's because I do genealogy all the time. My newsreels all have these different, videos of, what happens when you die, and it has these real life people filming the death of their loved ones and how it happens, or what to expect, and so forth and so forth. Okay, but you know I know how okay, when my father was dying, okay, and I've said this before, you know, he was laying in bed and he was in the dying process, and he looked up to the ceiling and he pointed to the corner of the room and he started talking to his mom and his dad who had passed away, and he started talking to his family members who passed away. As I understand it, and from what I've been seeing, is that when you're ready to die, your family members are allowed to come and help escort you to heaven, and
Mhm.
they welcome you into heaven.
Okay.
My mom, the same thing. My mom, every now and then, I'll hear her damn voice, clear as day.
Mhm.
I'll smell her perfume.
Mhm.
Okay, clear as day. And people will say, well, that means your mom is with you and and she wants you to know that she's okay. Well, I wish she wouldn't because it scares the shit out of me. Okay, you know.
This is my dad, and this is my dad's sense of humor to me. My father always carried Tic Tacs in his pocket. Always. He always had them in his pocket. When my mother was cleaning out, she gave me a duffel bag, and these were in the pocket. And now they're on my desk all the time. All the time. And I know
see, that's exactly
one is with me.
That's exactly one of the things I'm talking about, because
Okay.
each of us as individuals
Yep.
and how we were brought up in the faith,
Yep.
and how there are different representations. Me, how my people do, red cardinal, that's mama. So when
Yep.
I'm out on the porch, and every time my red cardinal comes, I'm like, oh, that mama coming to check on me, this and that. Butterflies. So when I'm out in the park, or I'm out walking, or I'm out, and a butterfly from nowhere will come land on my shoe, my arm, or whatever, I'm like, oh, mama, come check on me. I tell somebody that couldn't understand or wouldn't understand or wasn't raised like that or don't have those type of traditions, I tell them that they think I'm crazy. So we all have different, differences to when it comes to our religional backgrounds
to what you just said, because it was two male cardinals that always came to a house in Connecticut that we lived at. Two males. We looked it up. Okay, I'm sorry, Randy, but two males that we confirmed were actually males. And my belief seemed to be it was Donna's father and it was my father. And they were just checking in. And they would do that. They would sit there for hours and then they would fly off.
When I'm on the panel with you and Randy, I forget I'm on the panel with two guys that got dementia and shit like that going on.
No, Randy doesn't.
But I have a good time. I have a good time coming on here. It's fun. It's always fun.
It is.
I got a question for Mr. Phil. I hear you're down in the Florida area.
I'm down in Central Florida. I'm about 20 minutes inland from Daytona Beach.
Wow. My in-laws, we got timeshare. I ain't been down to Daytona Beach in about 5 years ago. We went down to the condo down there. Nice. How's the weather down there today? This time of year?
Well, it's still summer, so my opinion is it sucks. I'm not a big fan of Florida. I moved here in the in the middle 80s, and I moved out of here in the 90s after working for Disney for about 10 years. I was a third shift supervisor, which was the third shift was the only way I could deal with Florida.
Right.
I moved up to North Carolina, and then I traveled for quite a few years. I was a contract laborer with Marathon Oil, which meant that I did special projects, material handling for what they call turnarounds. Refineries systematically, almost every year or two, no more than two, go through a situation where they take things apart and rebuild them because of the acids and the corrosion. Anyway, my job was to run what they call tappet yards. So special stuff would come in for those jobs. So I might be here for 6 months. I might be there for a couple of months. I might be somewhere else for a year. And I ended up in Ohio for a 10-month job that lasted 6.5 years.
Wow.
And so I was blessed because I met a lot of rough, tough people, because rough, tough people do that kind of work.
That's right. That's
a female.
That's a manly man. That's a manly man job.
Yeah, and women too. And then you hang around. It's winter. It's 6 degrees, and you got to weld a pipe.
Yep.
And someone's going to stand there like a fool with a hose in their hand on safety watch, and they can't move around. They got to watch you weld so you don't start a fire. Anyway, that was an interesting part of my life. And then one of my daughters moved up to Ohio with her my son-in-law, and then I ended up with grandkids coming up there,
Yep.
and then in her divorce from down here, she took her property back, and now that I'm in my 70s, and it's been a couple of years I've been back here, it wasn't prudent for me to stay alone.
When I seen you on this morning, you were reminding me of somebody in Florida called the Godfather. You look just like him when took a brief one. He's the president, CEO, founder of Ride for 45, and he's down there in Florida. That's who I actually thought you were when I seen y'all on this morning.
He showed me yesterday. He has a beautiful fifth wheel home.
Wow.
It was absolutely beautiful, and I don't want you. I didn't mean to make you talk about it unless you want to talk about it, but I was looking at what I could see going.
I last year I had been I'm very spiritual, and I wanted to move out of the main house because I wanted my grandkids and my grandkids are older. I have a granddaughter that's going to the academy to be a police officer. I have a grandson that spent 6 years in the Army, so they're not young children. But I wanted some space, and I bought a camper. And when I say a camper, I mean where I bought a camper, I had a little tiny 22-foot at max, maybe 20 foot. This was big enough for me and my dog to not move around in together. And I looked at that biblically as being in a cave. God put people in caves.
Yep.
And you stay there and you grow through something. And then I decided I wanted something better to live in with more space. And I prayed a whole lot about it. And Donald Trump came along again. And lo and behold, some Canadians down the road decided that they were pissed off with America and they were going to leave. And I will use the word steal only because of the price of it. But I got a 38-foot fifth wheel. It has 4 slide outs. 4. If you know about these things, this is huge. This thing effectively is 38 by 16 feet. I have a kitchen. I have an office. I have a living room, dining room. I have a bathroom with a if you can't, a real toilet. Shower I can stretch my hands out in. I have a queen size bed in my bedroom that I can walk around. That's how large this is. And they wanted out. And I had American cash. And they left me with towels, sheets and blankets, pillows, silverware, dishes. They even left me cans of poutine, which is Canadian stuff you put on French fry. This house is completely equipped. Wine glasses, wine openers, a printer for the computer. You name it, it's complete. And I walked away with something worth about $40,000 for $11,000.
I got to adios.
Okay.
Vámonos. Hey, I guess I don't have to. I don't have to learn. I don't have to go ahead and learn my Mexican or my Spanish now. Oh, we can get back to American shit. Thank goodness. Hey, that Rosetta Stone. I thought I was gonna have to go get the whole trilogy of Rosetta Stone after a while. Telling you something else. But we back on track, man. We back on track. America first. And full steam ahead. As always, Dave, it's a pleasure, brother. Allow me the opportunity. Studio, it'll be up and running. Hey, I'm getting it together, bro. I'm getting it. The apparatuses together. They're getting in place.
Good, because
so now I just gotta get my internet turned on. And brother Phil, it was great seeing you, great meeting you. Hopefully we can air again together on some sites.
I say this to people a lot, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. I hope that I get to move into guest mode at some point, because it's a little easier on me. But you are always welcome, Ray.
Once I get it set up, you can go into guest mode.
Okay. You are always welcome, Ray. You are always welcome, Philip. Like I said, I just want people to try it and make sure that they're comfortable with who's ever going to be here or whoever may pop in. And, the whole thing is to just have fun and relate together. And like Ray said earlier, share ideas. And I know people get hellbent's the wrong word, but that's the word that came up.
Before I go,
Go ahead, Ray.
oh no, you'll give me my last word. Go ahead. I apologize.
People, sometimes the idea doesn't mesh in the moment, but we do our best and we adult. Go ahead, Ray.
Well, like I said, it's always been a pleasure. Patriot Nation. Hey, do me a favor. Make sure you share this to my platform too, so
I
can
shared it to the
re-air it.
I shared it to the Patriots Lab. So feel
Hey,
free, and if you want it, you can go to the YouTube channel and you can take it from there as well. Boogie with
it's
the Bull
time to
YouTube
suit
channel.
up, Patriots.
It is.
It's time to suit up. And like any team, anything, what do? You got to put your uniform on, right? Got to armor up. So, in honor of Charlie Kirk, every day from now on, it's time to ride. It's time to ride for America, baby.
It is.
In case y'all can't see it, let me give you a close look.
Beautiful.
It's time to represent. I told my wife, I said, since they did that to my bro, I'm about to piss everybody off. Yeah, everybody
Beautiful.
gonna know where I stand. Because you know what? America, enough is enough. Enough is enough. It's time to ride or die. Time to ride or die. What you gonna do? Hey, salute, panel.
All right,
I'm out.
Ray. Always a pleasure to have you here. Look forward to seeing you again. And Philip, what do you have?
Well,
Or
that
some
was
closing thoughts?
that was interesting.
Yeah.
There are certainly some diverse opinions.
Mm-hmm.
I should know. There's some diverse personality.
Well,
I think
everybody.
basically we're all of the same opinion about certain things.
I think so.
And there are things that I don't always bring up, but one of my spiritual sisters yesterday came to me pretty late and said, and she's an out of the box person. She
Okay.
does not look at things in this world. She definitively looks at things from a spiritual point of view 100% of the time. She would tell you that there's not a much value to change a tire on a car, if you can get where I'm coming with that. And she said, Charlie Kirk is he's still there. He's playing the part and the role exactly the way Jesus wanted him to do it. He was called to come to this point. His assassination was written when God was still counting the hairs on his head in the womb. And I want to be careful when I say that because I don't want someone to think that I'm anointing the action. But things happen for definitive reasons, and I really think that even the name The Turning Point was very pointed when God had him choose that name for his organization, because I definitively think that we're rounding some corners here. The people on the extreme part of the right are punishing the people who thought this was a great idea into dances. They're bringing it to their employees. They're bringing it to the public. There's a pizza shop. I forget exactly where it was, but it was brought up that man on his social media that owned that pizza joint was celebrating the death, and it was 36,000 negative comments immediately on his profile for that joint on Facebook. And yet I look at a group of New Zealanders that are in London that have taken over a street corner to do a traditional dance. And I don't know what it is, a dance of mourning, or they're Christians, but they came together from, I don't know if they live in the same community. So I think this is going to go further than 2 weeks from now.
I think so. I think people need time to heal, and by heal, it may get a little loud and a little crazy. I don't think anybody's intentionally going to get hurt. And then it's going to be us getting together with everybody as a nation and then moving forward. I think it's a turning point. I think that's
people mourn differently, and that's something you got to respect. I think the whole idea that's being put forward, and Trump has been reasonably quiet. JD has taken much more of a forward role, which I think is good. The resolution to have Charlie Kirk be at the Capitol and lay in rest there and be shown for the public to come in is another it's another pillar on this. These things are just devastating to the left. I think that the Democratic Party has allowed their wounds quite possibly to stop putting the final shovels of dirt on their graves. So I really enjoyed coming up today and
I'm glad
being
you
part
did.
of this.
I'm glad you did.
I like that. I like that public forum.
Yep.
We have a quiet. We have a moderator. We have an instigator.
I don't know what's up here a lot of times. Sometimes I want to come on and I want to do all the talking, and most of the time I don't. Most of the time I just want to jump in when I think I need to, and when it's my turn, and I want to work on passing it everywhere. So when other people are talking, that gives me a chance to be the live producer and do all of that. But it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and some Saturdays, morning caffeine at 10 a.m. Eastern, and Tuesday, Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. It says p.m. there, but it's supposed to say 7 p.m. Oh, no, it does. I see it. 7 p.m. Eastern.
Well, you shoot me the links when they're around, and if I'm available,
Okay.
From time to time, I will come up.
All right. And I will do that. I will do that every single time. And I will make sure that you're here. I enjoyed you being here today, but let's see. That's what I want to do, as I call it. I'm going to pop your parachute right now, and then I'm going to take a couple
All right,
minutes.
we've been 2 hours. We went 2 hours today.
That's okay, because we were moving. So I'm gonna wrap it up at 2 hours and take a few minutes to pass some stuff along. Anyway, it was a pleasure having you here, Charlie. Not Charlie, Philip.
Phil will do. Just you don't have to call it close. Phil.
Okay, Phil. All right,
Okay.
Phil. Get ready. I'm going to pop your parachute right about now. I'm going to jump in and take the screen. It was a lot of fun. Phil Marshall, as he just said, Ray Field, and Randy Rhodes. Plug for Randy Rhodes. All roads lead to home genealogy. It's a group. It's private. You have to join the group, or you can message the Randall Rhodes Facebook profile once you find his, and ask him your questions, and then hopefully you guys will learn a lot, but you won't pay a lot. He is the cheapest at doing what he does, and he's really good at doing what he does. So talk to Randy about that. William Brayfield, you see him on the Patriots Lab all over the internet. So when he's on, listen. If you're not sure when he's on, talk to him, and he will tell you when he's on, because off the top of my head, I do not know that answer. And Philip, as I said, kicked him up from moderator to an admin in the Boogie with the Bull Uncensored group. Going to throw some more groups at him if he is willing to do that, because we're a small family. We're about 3,000, 4,000, I think, all together, if it's even that high. But a loyal family that's been around forever, and I appreciate that. Anyway, I'm out of stuff to say, and I'm starting to ramble, as my wife says. So we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. We will podcast this, and it will be posted on streetlock.com, STREETLOC. Streetlock, STREET. STR, 2 E's, T, lock.com. I'm going to try to say it one more time. STREETLOC.com. We will podcast it there. We will podcast it on a few other places that we have the option to post it on, and we will see what happens. Just like sharing it. This was a good broadcast. We did talk. I did get push it a little. And sometimes you have to do that. Everybody has to share their own idea and get enough time to share their idea. I hope that happened. Anyway, I'm David Wogan. You're not. Thank you for the privilege of your time. I'm going to hit this one.